What's ever, everybody? Welcome to the second Drew Report, Week 2 in the JFL. Some big things going on in the National Football League. Unfortunately, the New England Patriots lost a pretty important game to the New York Jets. Real heartbreaker. Hate to see that kind of thing happen. And Kevin Falk has a torn ACL, is going to be out indefinitely. It's pretty big disappointment. But next week, Kelly and I are going to see the Pats take out their aggressions on the Bills in Foxborough Stadium. So you can picture that being one of those games where the score is really driven up. I can see him putting 50 points on the Bills. More good news for Kevin. Michael Vick just named starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, even though Kevin Kolb is healthy and is able to play next week. So personally, I think it's a good decision by Andy Reid. I think Vic's the better guy. I think he's proven himself, even though he doesn't really like dogs too much. But hey. Alright, so what do we have here? See, stud of the week. The honors go to Chris Rabideau, team punishment, defeating Jay 104-102. 2-point victory. What a kick in the you-know-what for Jay. Second highest score this week, happens to be playing the highest score of the week. And actually, it would have been, Chris would have had an even higher score, but he had Deshaun Jackson, who had 20 points on his bench. I'm just taking a look at some of the guys that Chris had here. Aaron Rodgers, 30 points. Frank Gore, 29 points. Knowshon Moreno, 18 points. Sick week. Very stud-worthy, Chris. Congratulations. Jay obviously had a good week, too. Second best week of anybody. 30 points from his defense. That Steelers defense is looking absolutely incredible. And once Ben Roethlisberger gets back, I'm guessing they're not going to need to be on the field as often. I'm guessing they're going to be even better. So if Jay keeps getting 30 points from his defense week in and week out, I mean, that's going to be really hard to beat, scoring 100 points over and over like that. So watch out for when you have to play Jay. He's the champ for a reason. People forget Jay is the reigning champ. Got to give him his credit. Next up is, the Angry Dragons beating Endzone Envy 97-94. 3-point loss for Dave McNeil to Fuji this week. Second week in a row that McNeil has lost an absolute squeaker. Fuji's got Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson going at the same time. Peyton Manning got him 28. AP got him 25. Really doesn't matter who else he has. He has Miles Austin, who played a good game, but really with those two, if they're playing the way they're supposed to be playing, he's really going to compete with anyone. I think maybe, just maybe, Jahvid Best has earned a spot in McNeil's starting lineup. He got 41 points this week. I think he had something like 40 points last week. I think McNeil's going to start him from now on. So you're going to see a lot more of a dangerous Dave McNeil out there when you have to play him. Let's see. Next up, EP beating Dave Bowman 86-75. Pretty boring matchup this week. Nothing special. Both Brady and Romo had games that, were decent quarterback games, but nothing special for either of them. The big difference was EP having Andre Johnson, who had a pretty good game. D'Angelo Williams hasn't really done anything this year, which is surprising. He's been so good the past few years. The Giants' Steve Smith hasn't done much either. I'd like to see Dave Bowman pick up a wide receiver. EP, I think you got to wait a little bit on D'Angelo Williams, see how he does. I think it's a little too late, too early to start benching him. Let's see. Next up, I played Tommy this week. I won 89-58. This actually should have been a lot more of a difference. I scored 89 points, even though Joe Flacco got me 5 points. He has been absolutely awful. And I understand he played the Jets defense in week 1, but the Patriots just laid 38 points or so on Cincinnati last week. This week, Flacco gets 5 points. Come on, this is ridiculous. I expected much more out of him. I'm going to have to start like Alex Smith or something if this keeps going. Tommy, you had a bad week, but you had a bunch of good players that had bad weeks. You're going to be fine. Let's see here. You do have Drew Brees, so that's going to help you every week. You had a good week this week. The fantasy dud of the week, I believe it's 2 weeks in a row. Danielle, not doing so well. Kevin has 77 points. Danielle has 51 points. Danielle was playing Brett Favre. Look at the luck on this. Danielle has Kevin Cobb, who goes out injured and then is replaced by Michael Vick. Her backup is Brett Favre. From the beginning of the season, it looks like she's in really, really good shape. People that drafted Brett Favre in their fantasy leagues should get a free plane ticket to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, be able to fly down there and slap Brett Favre's mother across the face. This is ridiculous. 1 point. 1 fantasy point. Joe Flacco got 5 times the amount of fantasy points that Brett Favre did. It's absolutely ridiculous. The guy, maybe finally, he'll be out of the league. That would be just wonderful. But you never know. Kevin, decent week. Nothing special for this week. Let's see. Chris Johnson was a bit off. Didn't get you much, but Matt Ryan had a pretty good game. You do got to get rid of Pierre Garçon. Peyton Manning just doesn't throw to him, so you really have to think about something there. Might want to hit up the waiver wire. Looks like it's going to be an interesting week for pickups, and we might want to see some trades being offered. It looks like a lot of guys have, a lot of people having quarterback problems, like me and Danielle. And a lot of people have pretty good quarterbacks that are sitting there on their bench wasting away points. So I think now is going to be a good time. You'll see a lot of trades happening. Next week, what do we have on the agenda? Some predictions. Let's see. We got Chris versus Tommy Mills. Chris is favored by 11 points in this game. I think he's going to clean up pretty nice. Chris has some pretty good matchups. Tommy does too, but Chris is going to start Deshaun Jackson this week. He's going to clean up pretty nice. I think Chris has got a pretty dangerous team there. Next up is EP is favored by about 9 points over me. It's going to be a very close game. I think EP's got a really, really good team, but I like my matchups a little bit better. I thought his matchups were a little bit difficult going into next week. We got Dave Bowman favored by 2 points over Kevin. Dave's got Tom Brady starting next week against the Bills. I wouldn't be surprised if Brady threw for 6 touchdown passes. They're just known for taking it out, especially after they have a bad week, just taking it out on the opponent and just riding up the score. So I think Dave's going to get 40 points out of Tom Brady this week, and I think that's all it's going to take. McNeil is favored by 5 points over Danielle. I can't really make a prediction on that because I'm guessing Danielle is not going to start the same team that she started this week. She's going to have to go out there, go to the waiver wire, see what she can grab for a QB, see what kind of switch-ups she can make, maybe even offer a trade. I'm guessing her team's going to be a little bit different by next weekend. However, McNeil is going to start Javid Best. He's got to start him. If he has as good a week 3 as he had a 1 and 2, McNeil's going to be pretty hard to beat. And next up, Jay is favored by 8 points over Fuji. I think this is going to be the game of the week. I think both these guys have really good matchups going. I think they're both going to score over 100 points. My prediction for that is AP is facing the Detroit defense. I'm thinking that Jay is going to, for the second week in a row, score 100 points, and for the second week in a row, lose a tight game. So those are my predictions. As I said, me and Kelly will be at the Patriots-Bills game, so take a look for us in the stands. We'll be cheering on the home team. That's it, everybody, and I'll see you next week on the Drew Report.